Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. I'm here with Ron Placone. Hey, Ron.
Hey, Jimmy.
Ron's coming to Florida in January. Go to his website. Guess what? There's a climate summit happening, a UN climate summit. It's happening in Katowice, Poland. And that is how you pronounce it. And so it's triggering a lot of protests about climate change because let's face it, the kids today don't have much of a future because of climate change, and the industrialists of today, the capitalists, aren't doing a goddamn thing about it. So, at First Extinction, this is from Democracy Now! First Extinction Rebellion, UK protesters are super gluing themselves to buildings to fight climate change. Now, does that actually take CO2s out of the air if you glue yourself to it? Is that the most effective way to fight?
I don't know. I don't know if like you're actually being a tree in that circumstance. I'm assuming you're not, but they're not afraid to shut stuff down, which I apply. I mean, they shut down the bridges.
Okay, well, let's get into the story then. Members are taking extreme action to fight climate crisis, including supergluing themselves to government buildings. How do you do that? Like that?
It sounds painful.
It just seems like it just rip your finger, and they would just rip your skin off to arrest you, right? That's what they would do here.
Yeah.
I'm
assuming clothes or
They shut down the London Bridge and are taking to the streets to sound the alarm about the impending catastrophe of global warming. We just interviewed Ralph Nader. He said, why do they call it climate change? Why don't they call it climate catastrophe? Then people would pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
They are demanding governments commit to legally binding measures to slash consumption and reduce carbon emissions to net zero by 2025. You know, I saw an article the other day. We haven't covered it, but that 70% of all global warming emissions come from 100 companies.
Oh, yeah?
Have you seen that article?
I have not seen that article.
Yeah. So that's why it's kind of bogus that they're like, hey, make sure you recycle and walk and turn off the light. Most of the things coming from, we know where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming from 100 companies. But that's a big ask. Net zero by 2025. I'm not a math surgeon, but that's 6 years away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a big ask, but it's a big problem.
Yeah. By the way, Ron, as Ron likes to say, nothing pragmatic about an incremental solution to a catastrophic problem.
That's right.
So here's another protest. Heeding the call of Greta Thunberg, Polish students walk out of class.
It's pretty cool.
So get this. 15-year-old Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg has called for, Greta Thunberg, that's a great roller derby name. If she was in a roller derby.
Yeah, it really is.
Here comes Greta Thunberg. Whoa.
The Thunder, as her fans call her.
Yeah. Anyway, Greta Thunberg has called for a global climate strike today to protest inaction on the UN climate summit. Greta made international headlines after she refused to go to school in August and began a school strike for climate. Boy, too bad that wasn't climate change when I was a kid. I'd have to go to school.
Yeah, you could have gotten out of school.
Oh, I'd be like, I'm not going to school because the things are getting warm.
I only ever participated in one school walkout, and it was just when we were in 8th grade.
There was a walkout in 8th grade?
Well, we were in 8th grade, which was like the final. It was like a K through 8 school.
Yeah.
I went to private school. And we just decided, like, hey, you can't stop us because we're like done. So we just like walked out.
Oh, after you finished your last test?
We didn't have a cause. Like there was no cause.
You were just asserting.
Like, we're done.
You were just asserting you can't do nothing to me.
Yeah, it was like just total senioritis. Like we were like, hey, we're doing this.
If we would have did that in my school, they would still beat us. They would stop us as we left, and they would grab us and hit us. I got hit in the park one time by my principal. No kidding. I was in a park by my house. Yeah. I know you didn't go to.
Was there a reason? He was just like, no, I went to Catholic school.
It was a nun, Sister Alberta. She's a nut.
I went to Catholic school. They didn't hit us in grades, but in high school, it was more like that was kind of okay. Like I got it. If your book wasn't covered, they'd hit you with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Greta made a call to today's strike in a video posted on Twitter. So here's another one. Hundreds of activists staged sit-in against big polluters on final day of the COP24 UN climate talks. Hundreds of demonstrators gathered at the UN climate summit in Katowice, Poland on Friday, demanding bolder action from world leaders on climate change. The action was organized by a global campaign to demand climate justice. That's nice. That's a nice title. Demonstrators, anytime you start off an organization with the global demand, ooh, you're not messing around.
Yeah.
This is not regional. Demonstrators filled the staircase inside the conference center holding banners reading, "Which side are you on?" and "People not polluters" and "System change, not climate change."
I like that.
I like that.
Those are pretty, yeah.
System change, not climate change. Again, we should call it climate catastrophe. So there you go. People are getting worked up. The yellow vesties are happening over in France, which spread to Brussels and the Netherlands. Right, Arno? Didn't it? Now you got this happening in Poland there at the UN thing. I think people are ready for revolution. Oh, Belgium and the Netherlands, right. What did I say? Well,
Brussels is, yeah.
it's in the... It spread to Illinois. No, just Chicago. So what do you? I don't know, Ron. Again, we do these stories about climate change, and again, I think it's because it's not called climate catastrophe that these don't get a lot of views. People don't seem to really. And I don't know, maybe I don't watch climate. I'm trying to think of why that is, and I just think it's because people feel like they can't do anything about it.
I think there's part of that, yeah, and I think that the yellow vests have really woken some people up.
Yes,
and as
me, it makes me want to get in the streets.
It really does.
I'm like, well, maybe I could organize a protest of something somewhere at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I wish this show was in Sacramento. Then we could go to Dianne Feinstein's office and the governor's office.
We could just
her
broadcast right in front of there.
No, her office is in San Francisco. Dianne Feinstein's not in Sacramento.
She's not at the Capitol.
No, right? She's in San Francisco. And I think she has an office here in L.A., too. We should do that. Yeah. Almost 100%.
Just live stream.
And then live stream that.
Yeah, just live stream right there.
So we should do something. I'm really feeling the yellow vests are really getting me going. This is good. This is good stuff. Electoral politics is not our friend right now. It's not, doesn't seem to be happening.
I think it was always not our friend.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was now it just revealed itself to be a total backstabber.
Yeah, it's the Democrats after Trump was elected. The Democrats actually literally moved to the right in Congress. Nancy Pelosi giving more power to the conservatives and the Republicans. They're the first thing she did. And Chuck Schumer, Chucky the Shoom, just appointed Joe Manchin to the Energy Commission to be the ranking member. That's the Democrat. Anyway, okay, here we go. So let's get out in the streets. That's fantastic. And pass this video around so you can prove me wrong about climate. See, because that's why I gave Chris Hayes a hard time. They didn't cover climate change, and he said it's because they don't get good ratings when they do. And I'm like, so what? So we're covering the shit out of it. How about that?
That's right.
Okay. Our next live Jimmy Dore show is February 1st in Burbank, California. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a list of all our live shows, and please become a premium member if you can. Become a patron. It's the way we support this show because they're coming at us, and we give you bonus. We give you hours of bonus material every week. Check it out. Become a patron. And if you can, make sure you're still subscribed. They unsubscribe people every day. I know it sounds crazy. It only takes a second. Please make sure and click that bell when you subscribe so they'll send you a notice when we drop a video. Thanks for your support.